Hello, king or queen, or if you don't pick a side, royalty. My name is Dom, and I'm actually really excited about today's video. Today, I will be talking about these 4 books that I recently read this year that have had the biggest impact on my mind, in opening my mind and seeing things in a different way. And in this video, I will be naming those books, giving a brief summary, and then the part of my life that it affected the most. I have notes just to explain like what part of it impacted me the most and what I took from the book itself if you don't actually feel like reading it, or if you want to know what you're getting into before you read the book. Here we go. If you're interested, keep watching. Thank you so much. Okay, so the first 2 books that I'm going to be talking about are books that I didn't actually read. I listened to the audiobook because, listen, let me tell you something. I'm not always trying to read. I was just looking up what books are the basic books for self-development, and something that came up that you probably heard of before is called the 4 Agreements, and it literally is just 4 agreements. And spoiler alert, these are the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word, always do your best, do not assume things, and don't take anything personally. And let me tell you something, it's so simple. It's just 4 agreements. But while I was reading this book, I realized that almost all of my problems are rooted in not being in alignment with one of the 4 agreements. What I liked most about this book was that it wasn't telling me what to do, it wasn't telling me what to think, it was just basically pleasant suggestions, which is something that I like. I don't like rules, I don't like punishments, I just like information just being given. I take it if I want to, I don't if I don't want to. And the 4 agreements gave me this light suggestion in the back of my mind to run through if I ever get like upset or frustrated about something. I usually check through the 4 agreements. Am I taking this personally? A lot of times, yeah. Like, am I thinking that this person not talking to me is a personal attack? Yes, like all the time. But then I realized, no, some things have nothing to do with me. Even if someone literally doesn't like me as a person, what this book taught me is that it has nothing to do with me. It's all about what they want in their lives and how they feel, or what they've been through up until this point, and what they expect from people. It doesn't mean you have to be any of that. It taught me that it doesn't mean that the way that I am is wrong, or that I have to change because someone doesn't like me. It's just because they don't, what I am, they don't agree with, but that also has nothing to do with me. It's all in their head. It allowed me to step outside of myself and to see the world outside of just my perspective of it and how I feel about things, and that, you know, there's more than just what I see or what I feel. The second audiobook that I listened to was called The Courage to be Disliked, which is along the same line. Oh, I just want to mention that the first audiobook for the 4 agreements I read was on YouTube. You could probably just find that on YouTube, but this book, The Courage to be Disliked, I found it on Audible. I'm not sponsored by Audible, but the first book is free, so that was the book that I picked, and I don't regret it. So if you're looking for audiobooks, if you don't actually like to read, I really do recommend audiobooks. Anyways, back to the point. The Courage to be Disliked. I wanted to read this book based on the title alone. So I was here editing the video and I realized that I did not explain this book to the best of my ability, but here I am now to correct that. So basically the story is that there's a young boy and an old philosopher, and the young man comes up to him and he's like, I hear you believe these 3 things: that people can change, that life and the world is simple and not complex, and also anyone can be happy. And now I want to sit here and argue that with you until I feel satisfied with your answer. And my goal is to get you to retract your statement, your 3 statements. So basically the story is just their conversation, and it doesn't all happen at once. But this book actually really helped me a lot. So yeah, that's all for now. Back to regular Dom. Anyway, the main thing that I learned from The Courage to be Disliked is that most problems that you have, say, with another person or with a group of people or with society or with the world in general, what this book taught me was that the problem is usually interpersonal, meaning it is within yourself and not actually with anyone else. That's what this book is basically about. The sacrifices we make, we choose to make to be liked, and the position it puts us in, the uncomfortable position it puts us in, because either we're playing a character and everyone loves this character and you love the attention that you're getting when you are this character, but it's not you and it doesn't feel good. Or the fear that if we are ourselves, people won't cheer for us, people won't like us, people won't see us, people will be mean to us or something. It's just the courage to be exactly who you are at any point and not have to worry about what other people are thinking, because the only thing that matters is your relationship with yourself. You can be accepted or rejected by anyone else, but if you actually accept yourself, then everything will be fine. If you reject yourself, even the acceptance of others won't be enough. So that's what that book taught me. I fuck with it. I think you would like it too. On to the next one. Okay, so I'm the most excited about this book. These next two books I actually have copies of, and when I have an actual copy of books, I actually like highlight and I write in them and all that good stuff. This book right here, baby. This is called Why Men Love Bitches by Sherry Argoff. I don't know if I said her name correctly, but let me tell you something, a little something about her. She did that. Let me tell you something. The name of this book is meant to catch your eye, but it's not about what you may think it's about. The title might be a little bit deceiving because it's kind of like, I don't give a fuck what men love. Or it's like, I don't want to be a bitch. Now, for me at the time that I picked up this book, I was more the latter. Like, I don't want to be a bitch. I learned so much from this book, and let me just put y'all on some game. If you are a woman or a man, I don't really think it matters. It's not about what men like, but it's also not about being a bitch in the terms of the connotation that the word bitch might have at this time. I actually have a highlighted part of this book that really, I think, encompasses what this book is actually about, and I'm going to read it to you. The bitch is not governed by fear of losing a man because she knows the real price to pay is when she loses herself. I feel like that kind of encompasses the whole vibe of the book. It's not about being rude or manipulative or deceitful or using people. It's not about that at all. It's actually just about valuing yourself and focusing on your own happiness, focusing on yourself and your time and your interests, and not completely giving yourself to someone else. And I feel like that's the part that can be unisex about this book. It's not about just how to keep a man or how to keep a man's attention, because I don't care about that. I just care about being treated with respect by the people that I am in relationships with or I am in relation with. And I feel like it doesn't actually have to be in romantic relationships. I feel like this book is about men and women, but it could really be in any fashion. It's just about telling you how to put your foot down and set boundaries and not bend over backwards for people that will not do the same for you. Not only is it attractive to hold your own and have your own life and really be independent to men and women alike, but it's just better for you and your happiness and your well-being to not be willing to sacrifice everything just to keep someone in your life if they are not good for you. I think this is a good book, and if you need to put a book cover over it because you don't want people to see that you're reading it, by all means, but it is a really good book, so I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorites this year. We are on the last book, and this is the book I read most recently. It's called The Untethered Soul. I just feel like I have a lot of insecurities with like my place in the world and who I am, and it's all revolving around my attachment to validation from other people and my attachment to this idea of who I should be. That's kind of why I read so many self-help books, because I just see the parts of myself. As I read more, I realize there's more work to be done, and I just want to do it. So yeah, this book is probably one of my favorite books this year. One of the questions is, who are you really? What this book showed me is that the things that I use to define myself aren't really me. Like, you ask me who I am, I'll say Dominique, but that's not who I am. That doesn't tell you anything about me at all. Or I could say I am a vet assistant. That's still not me. It's a very, very small part of me, but that does not encompass who I am. So it just made me think about all the things that I'm using as a blockage to name myself that may not really be me. I just really want to tell you guys about this chapter. My favorite chapter in this book is chapter 9, and it's called Removing Your Thorns. Now, I just want to be brief about this chapter. I'm going to tell you about it, but it's going to be brief. This book really opened my eyes for real, for real. And if you're still watching, thank you. Hit that like button. I hope you're enjoying this because I am. Removing your inner thorn. And that was my favorite chapter because it showed me, it made mental problems physical, and it showed how we deal with mental problems so differently than how we deal with physical problems. So basically, say you get a thorn stuck in your body, right? You have two options. You could either leave the thorn in or take the thorn out. Let's say you leave the thorn in because you're afraid of taking it out. You're afraid of the pain that it will feel to take the thorn out. Okay, fine. But now you have to be careful of where you go because you don't want the thorn brushing up on anything. Or you have to be careful what you wear because you don't want to brush up against the thorn. Or you have to be careful who you're around. And you have to tell them, don't get too close because I have a thorn here. So you can't touch me. That's kind of what we're doing with our mental issues, with our triggers, with our insecurities. We're trying to make sure that nobody touches our mental thorns. Like for me personally, I had insecurities about the way that I look. So if you ever made a comment about some aspect of my appearance that was negative, you would be touching my thorn, and I would be very uncomfortable, and it would be your fault because you shouldn't talk about that. But in reality, it's my thorn, and I'm leaving it in and expecting nothing to interact with it. I'm trying to control my environment so that nobody touches my thorn when I can just get rid of it. And that's the biggest thing that I learned from this book, is that I can't keep these thorns in and expect my external environment to mold to that. I would rather just do the easy part and just control what is in my control and live life freely. That's why I love this book. There's a lot more chapters about a lot of different things, but I basically learned a lot about my thoughts and my feelings and what part of me is the real me. Thank you for making it this far in the video. If you really enjoyed it, please give me a like, and I'll have a link for the audiobooks in the description and the names and everything for the books that I have the actual copy of. If you have any book recommendations, I'm trying to read 12 books next year, one per month at the very least, if more then sure, but excuse me. But if you have any other book recommendations, I'm really interested. They don't have to be self-help, but if you have some book that really changed your life, that opened your mind or changed the way you think about something, please leave it in the comments. I am interested, and I'm sure other people that are watching this video are interested too, so let's help each other out. Thank you for watching. I really enjoyed making this video, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.